Competition scares players away from tennis. That was a Facebook group topic that I seen this week, and I want to share my thoughts about it today in this live stream on mytenniscoaching.com and YouTube and Facebook. I hope we're all well. It's been quite a weird week for me this week. We've not been in work last week. I'm trying to catch up with stuff this week, but I hope everyone's well. So yeah, that was the main sort of focus of the Facebook group post. It was in a, let's say, a negative coaches group, one of my least favorite coaching groups, but I do like to sit in there and just watch the coaches talk about various topics. And let me just give some context to it. So the coaching question spoke about the LTA, the National Governing Body, sent them an email encouraging them to get more players to compete, because we need more players competing within tennis, because it's the whole idea of the sport to compete and play tennis. And the coach is like, well, I don't believe that I want to put my coaches in because they have, I don't believe I'll put my players in. They have such a negative experience and they leave the sport. And the experience is a couple of things. It's expensive. There's lots of cheating going on. It's not fun. So therefore, why would I put my players in competition? Because they'll just leave the sport. So I'll keep them in my coaching program, and I don't want to expose them into competition, because as it stands, it's not appropriate, and you need to make a lot of changes before I even think about it. Just think about the messaging. Just think about the messaging in that. Tennis coach doesn't want to put their players into competition, and they're trying to justify it and say, well, I'm protecting the player. If they have a negative experience, then they won't come. Then they'll stop playing tennis altogether. So let me give a bit of context to it. So in the last few weeks, I've been working with the LTA, doing the coach forums across the region. And one of the slides we put up at the start is celebration, because we've got 1.3 million juniors, that's under 18s, playing tennis every month here in the UK. 1.3 million playing tennis. What counts as playing tennis? Well, it depends on how they do the stats. They're using things like the LTA booking portal, ClubSpark, which clubs use as registers. So they use that. They'll use data from UK Sports, and it's a rough estimate. These are never completely accurate, but 1.3 million. Be interesting to know how many of those kids are competing. I would say maybe 25% of that 1.3 million, which is crazy. And I'd say most of those people, those kids, and they're classed as playing tennis, I'd say the vast majority are having lessons, because they'll be using stuff like the LTA database, the LTA booking systems. They'll be tracking that type of data. So why do we have so many kids playing tennis? 1.3 million kids play tennis every single month. But if you look at the draws and the number of tournaments and how many kids are playing in those tournaments, I'm definitely not seeing 1.3. If I go to a club, I'll probably see 16 kids in the under-8 session. Struggle to find 16 kids for multiple clubs playing tournaments. And I'm a big believer that part of the problem is that narrative of the coach. I don't want to send them off. It's a negative experience. They have such a bad experience. So I just want to address a couple of things, again, in my opinion. It is a negative experience. So the kids will go, they'll lose every match in their first tournament. They'll lose every match. And they'll come away really unhappy and disjointed and sad. So my question is, are the coaches giving the players the right tools to deal with that situation? First of all, are we giving the kids the right tennis skills? And I've talked about this a lot in these streams and on my channels. We teach kids in isolation. We focus on technique. And we focus on being perfect and not making mistakes. Then they go to a tennis match. It's not isolated, it's dynamic. The ball comes in lots of different areas. The kids need more than technical skill. They need tactical awareness or tactical skill. They need physical skill. They need mental skills. They need social skills. So already they need more skills than what we're providing them as a coach. And if you look at it from that point of view, are we preparing them to deal with loss? Because as I said before, we're teaching them to be perfect. If they make mistakes, we get in and fix. Whereas in a match, you're going to make loads of mistakes. You're going to lose loads of points. In a practice environment, that's seen as a negative. So when they lose points, my player loses all 3 of their matches in their first tournament. They think they failed, because when they go to coaching, if they fail, they get told how to fix it. And all of a sudden they think, I've got lots to fix here because I've lost all 3 matches. So our coaches giving players the right tools to deal with that situation? I don't think so, because to me they're two different environments. And I said it on my stream of John Lodge last week. Coaches teach ballet. They teach a very controlled environment, very fluffy. It's very nice. If you make a mistake, here's the correction. Okay. You just dance around on your own. That's what I call a coaching environment. It's a ballet environment. Very strict, very organized, very explicit. Then you go and play matches and it's chaos. You've got someone trying to do the opposite to you. They're trying to make you uncomfortable. They're trying to make you miss. You make loads of mistakes and there's no one there to help you. You may play really well, but still lose. And your opponent is always adapting. And I compare it to mixed martial arts. You're going in there, it's a one-on-one battle. You're dealing with an opponent who can hurt you in multiple ways, but you've got multiple skills as well. You haven't just got that one shot you've been working on for 6 weeks. You've got multiple skills as well. And then you've got to try and utilize that. But you've not been taught how to be adaptable. You've not been taught how to deal with the pressure of a one-on-one combat, because you've been learning how to do ballet for 6 weeks. That's what makes it not fun, because they're going from this very fluffy, controlled environment where they're having lots of success because the coach is setting activities up to promote lots of success. And they go and deal with absolute the opposite. That's the biggest issue for me, anyway. We're teaching players two different sports: competitive tennis and non-competitive tennis. And coaches will fire back and go, "Oh yeah, but that's like the best players." No, every player you coach should play a tennis match. That's the whole concept of coaching. We get them ready to perform at no matter what level, whether that's an under 8 event, whether that's a 27th a 27th adult team of complete beginners who can barely hold a racket and they're playing a match. That's your job. Your job is to get them to play a match and compete on the court and give them the tools to deal with that chaotic environment. And we're not doing it. And that's why we have that huge disconnect when players go to events and have the negative experience, because we haven't given them the tools. So if they go to an event and they can't deal with a situation, it's on me as a coach. And coaches just they just don't see that. Again, if you go through the thread on the Facebook group, the blaming everyone, the national governing body and the world tennis number, and it's expensive. The bottom line is we're not giving them the tools to compete, because we're teaching them ballet and they should be doing mixed martial arts. So that's one point I'd like to make out. The other point was the world tennis number. The world tennis numbers confuse things. And again, this is my opinion. I don't think we should have any ratings or rankings at under 12. Again, that makes it not fun, because they're chasing ratings and rankings that really don't matter. If you go through your county, regional, state, wherever you are in the world, if you go through your under 8, under 9, under 10 champions for the past 20 years, how many of them have become a professional tennis player? Not many. So why does it matter? How many players get to a red 1 star, which we used to have over in this country, become top tennis players? Very few. So why do something that has no impact? And governing bodies will say, well, we need some kind of structure. So we have the best players playing with the best players, and the experienced players playing with the experienced players, less experienced players, less experienced players. We don't want them mixing, because it's a really hard situation. Okay, so at Wimbledon, let's have just the top 8 then play. Forget the rest, because their ranking and ratings aren't high enough. Oh no, we can't do that, because we need a big draw. Does it really matter if I go on court with a national player and they beat me? No. I'd be quite happy to go on court and play a match today with a top performance player and lose, because it's shows me the standard I want to get to. No one likes losing, but if you understand, like, okay, but they're more experienced than you, so they're going to win. But if you go on there and you try and practice these few things, then we'll count that as a win. But because we have ratings and rankings, it doesn't matter. I could give my player a process goal of, okay, go on and really work on your breathing today. Okay. Because that's going to help them play better if they breathe. But they'll just get so distracted by the result in the match because we have these situations, ratings and rankings. And then I don't think we should have under 10 or under 12 results submitted. You go off, you compete, and you may give the results to the referee, and the governing body or whoever may use those stats to see how many kids are competing, how many matches are playing per year. But don't publish them. Don't put them on the website where parents can go on and check out where they are in the country or the county. Or they can go on and check out the opposition and see where they are. And then, oh my God, I'm playing the UK number one. So you've lost already, then, that mindset. Because you have this false belief that that they're better than you because they're ranked higher than you. So national governing bodies are creating that environment and culture. People say, yeah, but we use it for talent ID so we can spot talented players. Goes back to my point before, how many 8, 9, 10 champions, county champions have gone on to be national level or international players? Very few. So it's just excuses. We don't need to keep the recording. The most important thing, the kids are playing tennis. So get them to play tennis. I understand that tennis is a difficult sport on your own. So we could make it a team event. Again, most tennis clubs don't have junior teams, or very few. But every player who goes to your coaching or your club should be in a team. If I join a football club as an under 10, I'll be put into a team and I'll play matches. I understand that's logistically a little bit different because you get more players in a team in football. But tennis, you could have your, I don't know, Federer group play your Coco Golf group in a match at a weekend. You could create your own internal competition, but there should be some level of competition. And if we make it into a team competition, that takes a little bit of the burden off, but you can still compete on your own. So I don't get that argument either of, oh, it's an individual event. You can make it a team event, no problem. Just takes a bit more work. And I think that's one of the big problems. People don't want to put the work in. It's a lot easier just running a coaching session than it is running a team. More profitable as well. And that was one of the points that was brought up by a coach. Oh, yeah, competition's too expensive. So you're paying £15, £20 for an entire day, or could pay £45 for a private lesson. Coaching's expensive. And again, coaches push the narrative of tennis is expensive. Oh, to compete, you're going to need, I don't know, 2 indies a week, 3 group lessons a week. That's just made it super expensive. Doesn't have to be. Have a lesson per week. It could be a group session, which is £10, and you compete at a weekend. So what's that, £25? Or have a private lesson at 45 that you probably don't need. So again, I don't buy this narrative that it's expensive. Coaches make tennis expensive. I don't think tennis is expensive at all, and it's just a barrier that we put up. Yeah, but coaches need to make money. Of course we do. I'm a coach. I have to pay my bills and make an income. But if my players compete, they play more and they play longer. That's been researched by the ICF. It shows in the stats. If you compete, you play more, you play longer. So if you play more and play longer, you're going to have more lessons with me over a longer period of time. Well, that's going to benefit me both financially and business-wise, or coaching-wise, I should say. Again, that's another barrier. If I have 10 kids on a group on a Saturday, I'm not going to send them to a tournament and miss out on all that income. 10 kids paying £10 each for a group. I'm not going to send them off to a team match. It's going to hurt my income. How's that helping the game? And again, that's a huge issue. Coaching generates so much money now for clubs and coaches. Competition doesn't generate much money. Referees get paid pretty poorly. Venues might get a little bit of court fee. And that's why competition's dropping, because venues don't want to run it. Coaches don't want to run it because it hurts the bottom line. But in 10 years, when we have less people playing, we're going to have a bigger turnover of players. because they're not competing. I can't get my head around this whole narrative of coach about competing. And that's the biggest barrier here or one of the biggest barriers is it is expensive, but the coaching's making it expensive. I put on a podcast the other week, tennis doesn't need to be expensive. You don't need 5-6 hours of coaching a week. Coaching helps because coaching, like I said before, will give you the tools to deal with those match situations. But the vast majority of coaching you're getting on giving you those tools anyway. So you're just wasting your money. But if you come to a session and the coach is giving you the right tools, you only need that one lesson a week. And then you go off and you practice those tools in a competitive environment and you'll get better. That's the issue of competition. The issue is not the players or the competition environment. Always comes back to the coaching. There's a massive disconnect between the coaching and the competitive environment. That's what I've been banging on about on this channel now for months. But coaching ballet, these kids are then competing in a mixed martial arts fight and they don't have the skills. And then we blame the octagon environment. We blame the fighting environment. Oh, it's too tough. There's cheating going on. They're holding onto the fence. And yeah, he's a much better fighter than me. It's just like, well, goes down to the coaching. If you get 2 UFC fighters and that one fighter hasn't got the skill set to compete with that other fighter, that's down to the training. But the coaches, we just like pushing a narrative at other people and blaming other people without looking at the people who can make the biggest difference, which are the coaches on the ground. And I get we've got to work in the structure. Like in an ideal world, like I just mentioned, I'll get rid of the ratings and ranking system. That's never going to happen. Okay, but work with it by educate my parents and players. That's not that important. No matter how much other parents will tell you or how much the national governing body will push it on you, it's not that important. Just stick to the process. Let's focus on what we can control. Don't focus on the outcome so much, and then it becomes a bit easier. So there we go. So what is the biggest problem within competitive tennis? Is it the actual competition environment, or is it the coaching? Is it the training? Are we actually preparing these players to compete? How many coaches on this call are getting 80% of their players into competition? At any level, just playing a match once a week makes you a performance player in my eyes, because you're performing once a week. And that could be just playing an internal club match with a mate. To me, that's good enough. If you're playing a tennis match, you are a performance player. Again, this word performance keeps getting thrown around. Oh, he's a performance player. Oh, because he plays tennis matches. Wow, great. But you are a performance player. But if I just have one lesson this week and then I play it the weekend, I'm a performance player because I'm performing. Again, coaches will use that phrase, performance, to get people in. It's a nice shiny tag. Yeah, we deal with performance players here. They're just kids who play tennis. But surely every player who plays a match should be a performer. So there we go. Maybe a bit controversial today, but something I believe in. I believe that these kids should be competing. I don't think we're giving them the tools as coaches. I think we're not looking at the bigger picture here in terms of, okay, yes, they are having bad experiences. Yes, they are finding it tough. So how can we help them better rather than not just send them? Because that's what's happening. Coaches aren't sending players to tournaments now for those reasons, because they're scared of losing the money. They're scared of losing their income. So what does that say to the future of our sport? Especially when we've got other racket sports coming up behind us now, which are quick and easy to play. Will we start seeing kids start playing pickleball and paddle? Because it is easier to pick up and play. You're generally playing maybe in a double situation in pickleball as well. And coaches are crying about it, how it's going to kill tennis. Well, maybe if we save tennis ourselves and stop killing it from the inside, we may be doing something better. There you go. There's my thoughts of the week in terms of competition. Hope you enjoyed the stream. As always, leave me a message down below or in the comments. Feel free to reach out to me at steve@mytenniscoaching.com if you have any topics you'd like to discuss, or you'd like to come on and discuss this with me in person. We've had a couple of guests on now. We had Greg Hill, few weeks back, which was amazing. John Lodge was on last week, and do have plans to have quite a few other coaches coming on because those interviews have been quite well received. But let me know what you think about competition. Please check out mytenniscoaching.com. We are relaunching the website in a few months' time. Brand new platform. It's going to be amazing. I'm working on it. It's taken a long time. It's actually really difficult, but I'm working on it. It's going to be really good. I'll be sharing bits and pieces of that with you over the next couple of weeks. Until next time, get your players competing. Stop teaching ballet. Start teaching more mixed martial arts. No more fluffy environments. Let's have chaotic environments. And I'll speak to you soon.